Welcome back to this week's session of Rich Habits, Poor Habits. Michael Yardney in Australia, and I've got Tom Corley way over in the United States. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, Michael. It's good to see you again.
Now, last week's blog and the video created quite a ruckus. We got lots of views on YouTube, on Facebook, on our individual blogs, because we touched something a little bit close to people's hearts, how to pass on rich habits to your children and how to ensure your children become wealthy.
Yeah, and it's an important topic because, what parents teach their kids stays with the kids most of their lives. And I mentioned in the last episode how children are constantly watching and listening and paying attention to what their parents do, and they pick up most of their habits in life by the age of 9. So you got to be really careful when the kids are young.
Well, maybe this session we could talk a little bit about some of the messages we can pass on to our children about money and about wealth and about becoming successful, because we want to instill good habits in them right from the beginning. So last week we discussed some of the bad habits, but Tom, some of the lessons I have tried to teach my children and grandchildren is about money and debt also, because today's debt equals tomorrow's slavery, and a lot of people start their lives with credit card debts, and then they have difficulty ever getting out of that rut. It's robbing them of tomorrow's earnings. So I'd be teaching, now this is more for older children and teenagers, some good money habits.
Yeah, and so you mentioned credit cards. Michael, a lot of these kids, they can't wait till they graduate high school or college to get their first credit card so they can go out and spend like their parents did. And what happens is they get in trouble just like their parents got in trouble with the credit cards, and then the next thing you know, they're behind the 8 ball and spending the next 3 or 4 years trying to dig themselves out of a rut.
So it's often worthwhile teaching children simple money habits when they're small, like saving, like not spending it all straight away, like saving up for a bigger toy. Tom, you've probably read the same studies I have about delayed gratification, where psychologists put children into a room with some marshmallows, and they've said to people, you can have your one marshmallow now, or just don't touch it, and when I come back in a couple of minutes, I'll give you 2. And there were those children who could delay gratification. You saw them fidgeting and fiddling around, but those who could delay gratification for a higher reward later, interestingly, in the long term, were the children who were able to delay gratification in other areas of their life to seek and attain good success.
Yeah, that marshmallow study is famous. There was another one called The Children of Dunedin, New Zealand. And that one, they followed these kids for 30 years after they examined them and studied them while they were in kindergarten. And what they found out was the kids that were able to delay gratification, that were able to put off something that they wanted, those later in life, those individuals, those adults, were way more successful. They had a higher percentage of them went to college, a higher percentage of them had really good jobs, and a higher percentage of them were making a lot more money than the other group. So, this whole concept of building up your willpower muscle is really an important point. And these kids must have had parents at home who were teaching them these principles, and so they took that delayed gratification strategy or habit. It's really a habit, not a strategy, along with them into their adult lives.
Tom, I believe that the concept of delayed gratification is so important. In fact, I know we both do, that we included it in a whole chapter in our book, Rich Habits, Poor Habits, because the ability to delay gratification, the habit of that, has made a huge difference to most successful people. Oh, by the way, if you haven't got that book yet, Rich Habits, Poor Habits, please go to richhabitspoorhabits.com and you can get your hard copy version or the soft copy book as well. Tom, the other lesson that I think we should teach our children is that that person with the most toys, that dies with the most toys, doesn't win. Look, we all like our toys. We all like our doodads, the latest iPhones. But I think we also need to realize that if we spend money on that, we're not going to have money for savings or for investing. So one has to learn a discipline and habits, don't we?
Yeah, and this comes down to really a psychological thing or an emotional thing. So what you have to be, this is not really about money, how we spend. It's really about our priorities in life. What are your major priorities? What are the things that matter to you? Does it matter that you have a big house? Does it matter that you have an amazing new car or you have the latest gadget? Or if that's important to you, then okay, then it does matter. But for most people, what matters to them is their family, their kids getting a good education. So you really want to, the way to manage your want spending is to actually define what your wants are. If your wants are, core things like family, education, saving, retirement, being financially free in retirement, what's important to you? You have to ask yourself, what's down deep? What's the most important thing to me? And then tailor your spending around those important wants, and not don't get involved in trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Good point, Tom, because true wealth isn't the possessions you've got. It really is the experiences and the people that you share it with. Things that money can't buy. That's what makes you truly wealthy. Gratitude and being appreciative. You probably heard me say before, Tom, that true wealth is what you're left with when you lose all your money. I think another good money lesson we should teach our children is that you are responsible for your own destiny. You're the master of your destiny. And you've really got to also teach them that there's no such thing as a rich victim. Unfortunately, it's too easy for people to blame the system, the government, the education, rather than looking closer to home at why they're not rich, Tom.
Yeah, this is a big topic for me. I've written and I've done a lot of media interviews on this. There's two schools of thought. There's the school of thought that believes in self-determination, and then there's the school of thought that believes in predetermination. And the people that believe in self-determination, they believe that they're the masters of their own destiny. The people that believe in predetermination, they believe there's some outside force, you can call it whatever you want, God, fate, or whatever, that has already determined, what their lives are going to be like. These people have absolutely no belief that they have control over their lives. And as a result, well, why do I need to study? Why do I need to save money? Why? It doesn't matter. My blueprint has already been cast in stone. And it's a poor habit to think that way, but it's a devastating one too, because you have actually given up any hope of controlling your life.
I think another really good lesson to teach your children, a good money habit, is that your luck is made through hard work. It's too easy to attribute other people's good fortune to luck. And look, maybe they were at the right place at the right time. And we do know that luck does play a part in it. But that's, while a handful of people have lucked out, I think one good habit to teach our children is the importance of persistence and hard work and patience.
Yeah, so luck is the benefit that you derive from persistence. You actually create luck by being persistent. I've seen this in the 233 wealthy people that I've studied. I'm seeing it in my own life. You and I, Michael, before we started the video, we were talking about the big publisher in China that I was able to lock down. Well, that came after 8 years of trying. I've got turned down by over 140 publishers and over 140 literary agents, but I never stopped trying. I went at it almost every day trying to get, somebody to take notice, and finally they did. So this is all about creating your own luck. And it's like anything else. The more you do something, the more you try, the greater the opportunity for luck to occur. If you only get up at bat once and you miss, well, that's it. Now you could hit a home run on your first at bat, but if you get up at bat 100 times, I guarantee you're going to probably get a lot more hits. And, maybe you'll get that home run. So you have to go get up there. It's about getting up and taking action and getting a swing at the ball.
Now, if you're watching this video and it actually does hit a nerve and you do realize that this is relevant to you, your children, please pass this message forward. Click the like button if you're watching it on Facebook, if you're doing it on other social media or on our blogs, pass it forward, please, to actually help other people as well, to help the message that Tom and I have got, because the next one is a really important one I'd like to share, Tom, and that's teaching your children the concept of spending less than they earn, investing the rest. I mean, that's the basic rule and tenet of getting ahead financially, isn't it?
Yeah, I call it a lot of things, but it's known as the 80-20 rule. Save 20%, pay yourself first, and then live off of the 80%. That almost guarantees that you're going to retire a millionaire.
I think the last one I'd like to mention in this session today, Tom, is if you're wanting to pass a message on to your children, say that youth won't last forever. Use it wisely, use it sensibly, and understand that earlier you start saving and then investing, the magic of compounding is going to work. It's so much harder to do it later in life, but small amounts saved early with time and compounding make a big difference, Tom.
Yeah, and I did the math with just to show my son, who's, when he first started out, I wanted him to start saving early. And we agreed to set aside 10%. He would set aside 10% of his net pay. And I showed him mathematically, because he's a finance guy like me, that if he did this, by the time he was 45, he would be a multimillionaire.
Well, I guess the bottom line from these last two sessions, last week's one and this one, is that wealthy people do different things every day to the average person, to what we call the poor people. They have daily success habits, they have daily wealthy habits, rich habits that they pass on to their children. We're likely to be the only mentors to our children when they're small and influential mentors to our children as they're older. So let us understand our own habits, start adopting more rich ones and giving away some of the poor ones. And unless we instill good daily success habits in our children and level the playing field, the rich are going to just continue to get richer and the poor are just going to continue to get poorer.
Yeah, the rich are teaching their kids all these rich habits, and the poor are teaching their kids all the poor habits. Knowledge doesn't cost anything. You can get it on the internet now, and we talk about it in this video. This is free. They don't have to pay a fee for this. So, if they can just get this knowledge and adopt some of the learning into in their lives and their family lives, they can actually help transform their kids' lives and help them break out of the generational cycle of poverty.
Fantastic. So it may pay you literally to give your kids a little bit more time. Thanks for your time. I think this has been a great session, Tom, and I hope it does help change a few people's lives.
Me too, Michael. Thank you very much.